What is an invoice? Don't forget, with business, not all customers can pay up with cash upfront. So many rely on credit, especially if you're a restaurant. You're always buying fruits and vegetables, so you're not always going to pay the delivery person with cash with every transaction. Perhaps maybe you wait until the weeks and then you pay an invoice. So an invoice is a document. It's going to list the products and services that you purchased. It lists the obligation to pay and when all the payments are due. So examples of some businesses that require invoices are anything service-based, photography as well. Any wedding planners or photographers may provide some services and then they bill an invoice to their customer. So an invoice is a fancy name for a document sent to a customer and they have to pay upon receiving that invoice. So if a person is selling and providing services, it's called a sales invoice. But if you're purchasing something and you receive the invoice and then you have to pay them back, it's called a purchase invoice. So sales invoice, purchase invoice. Why do we need sales invoices? Here's what an example of an invoice will look like. It's going to have like a name, billed to, shipped to, all of the necessary details, quantity purchased, and then the final details. But why do we need sales invoices? It's an essential part of accounting and bookkeeping practices. It allows you to accurately record all of your sales, all of your transactions, and it's a great way to keep track of your records. One thing you'll notice about invoices are that invoices are going to have an invoice number. This is a unique number for every sale that you have, and it's a way to itemize the sale, but also to keep good records. So if you were to go 6 months later and you wanted to look up the actual transaction, you have a copy of the records and what you sold. It also helps to establish the brand of the company. You can put things like names, slogans, and logos, and it's a way to reinforce the brand. It's going to list the specific terms of payment, payment due date, and it also helps to predict and forecast revenues. So this is an example of invoice you send to your customer. You can have the tax rate, any shipping and handling fees, and it lists all the details for how to properly pay the company. Very standardized formal document, and there's going to be no misunderstandings upon receiving this document. So here are some things that you should include on your invoice. So if you are a business, sometimes you have to give out invoices, and if you sell things to cash and you receive the cash and the payments already been processed, there's really no need for an invoice. It's called a receipt. So if they're paying right away, you just give them a receipt, a confirmation of the purchase and payment, everything's good to go. But the sales invoice is more about you don't have the payment up front, so you gotta send a document and ask them to pay. So an invoice will include things such as your name and your address, the date. It has to include a unique invoice number. No two invoices have the same number, because if you're selling different things and they have the same invoice number, then you can't properly track what you sold. It's going to have the customer's name, address, description of the items sold and services, itemized amounts, and a total amount. And you can separate it by tax, any shipping and handling fees, and also the hours listed. So this invoice needs a little bit more details. You want to list perhaps how many hours each design cost. Maybe it cost you like $30 an hour and it took 10 hours for design, something like that, to make it a little bit more detailed. Then you have payment upon receipt, due within 30 days. Late payments will be billed a payment penalty of 1.5%. You can also put here what types of payment are appropriate. Not all businesses are going to like cash or check or credit, so you have to be very specific about what you want from your customer. You can also put here if you pay early. Some businesses also give a discount, like a 2% discount if they pay within like 10 or 15 days. But this invoice is a document and you're going to send it to your customer, and your customer is going to receive it, and there's probably going to be a message you're going to send to your customer saying, hi, all the services are done. Here's my sales invoice. Check it over. Make sure there's no errors or anything, and then send it back with the payment and you're good to go. So an invoice is necessary to properly bill your customers and to ensure that the correct products or services are being provided, recorded, and billed. So it's a great way to keep track of your records. So I'm going to show you and do a little bit of a demo of ways you can make sales invoices and ways you can make this a very easy process to do. All right, so stay tuned. All right, let's get started with this invoice demo and how to generate an invoice using one of these free software. So I'm going to type in my name over here, Business Basics, and I just randomly Googled an invoice generator and found this website. So you can put the name here, you can put a logo. I'm going to put from Mr. Leong, my email, Business Basics contact. You can put an address here, phone number, and a GST number. So in Canada, we have something called GST, which is goods and services tax. And this GST is collected from sales on a variety of things, and we just remit this to the government. So we have bill to here, which is your name. We're billing this to Darren Allen. And then we have the email, address, phone number. We can type in the customer information over here. And then we have a random invoice number. So this can be 00001 for sale, the date of the invoice, and the terms is on receipt. So I'm going to send this invoice to Darren Allen on June 30th. And once they receive this invoice, then this invoice is payable. I can put descriptions over here like, let's call this bookkeeping services. And then let's do $40 for bookkeeping, and then we charge for 3 hours. And I'm going to put additional details here, 3 hours of bookkeeping services. It's important to clearly itemize and write down all the details of what was provided so that this reduces any ambiguity and it shows that you're very professional in your conduct. So I'm going to put here GST returned. Let's do entering receipts, bank reconciliation, etc. So this is great. If the client sees this, they know the services that they're receiving, everything is properly listed, and it's all accurate. So the tax is going to be 5%. I believe in BC, there is no tax, no PST on bookkeeping and other services, so it's just going to be GST. So 5%, and notes I'm going to put thank you for your business, and I'm going to put a little smiley face over here. It's important to put a personalized note, and it just makes the client feel nice once they receive it. So here's what it's going to look like. I'm just going to see if I can preview this. So here's what the customer is going to receive. You bill to Darren Allen, and you have all the address, the description, and what you can do is you can actually email this invoice or you can print it, and the currency is Canadian right here. Any discounts? So this is an example of a good software you can use to create invoices. Now you always want to list the correct currency if you're dealing with international clients. So if you're dealing with clients from the US or China, Malaysia, Japan, any of those countries, important to list the correct currency so that there's no ambiguity as well. This is how you create an invoice. And there's other software you can use to create invoices, such as the accounting software like QuickBooks or Sage, or you can even use Microsoft Office. Word, Excel are going to come with these templates, so you can just Google invoice template and then you don't have to go through this process every time. So let me know if this helps with how you create invoices. And invoices are simply documents that you send to your customers upon finishing a service, and you're requesting them to pay for these services. Okay, let me know if you have any questions. Thank you for watching, and don't forget to subscribe to Business Basics for some more content like this. So we're going to be wrapping up the money management unit, and then maybe we'll proceed to marketing. I want to do some marketing stuff with you. So okay, so I'll see you later. Bye bye.